Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's school committee meeting. Matt, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a consent agenda, the minutes from October 12th, 2017, and oath to bills and payroll.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda is read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion or issue with the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right, we have two sections in the meeting for interested citizens input. This is the first one at the beginning of the meeting. We'll have one at the end of the meeting. Are there any interested citizens that have any business before the school committee? Seeing none. We'll go into recognition. We have the student representative report from Olivia.
Do you want me to start at the high school and work my way down, or start at Shaker Lane and work my way up?
It's your update report.
Okay. So Shaker Lane, like most of the other schools in our district, had 2 professional development opportunities this week. Russell Street has picture day on the 6th, so make sure you bring your smiles. The middle school, the 7th grade, began their archaeological dig this week, and that was the best part of 7th grade. It seems really cheesy, but like they actually like bury the stuff at like appropriate layers of where you would find it, like if you were to actually go do a dig. The Halloween dance for 7th and 8th grade is this Friday night, which we didn't have that when I was there, so that'll be fun. Parent-teacher conferences happened this week at the middle school, and they were well attended, and there's another day for conferences next week. The middle school is having Mix It Up Day at lunch on Halloween, which I think is kind of fun. If you're not familiar with it, everyone gets assigned a color, and then you sit, each table gets a different color, and so you're mixing up the crowds. And Enterprising People is not this Friday, but next Friday, so if you're around, I highly recommend checking it out. My group sold flower pens. We made lots of money, so that was a win. At the high school, Picture Makeup Day is tomorrow, and all of the seniors are submitting college applications in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
All right, next under recognition is the Mighty Oak Fund.
Yes, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Bobby Crench, president of the Mighty Oak Fund, for his generous donation of $3,985 to our school district. That money will purchase 15 Chromebooks for Russell Street School, and the $250 will be utilized to offset the student fees for the one-on-one program at the high school. Greatly appreciated, and thank you, Darryl, for sending him in our direction.
Yeah, the Mighty Oak Fund that Bobby administers, it's not just the schools. He does a lot of work with youth sports groups and provides scholarships for kids that needed to be able to participate in youth sports in Littleton. So this is just another example of him spreading his tentacles. There's branches of the Mighty Oak Fund into different, definitely worthy aspects of Littleton. So thank him for that.
That's great. Next item under recognition, we were not caught off guard, but we weren't sure when we were going to implement an automated sub-call system, because we had a staff member for 19 years who was gracious enough to do it manually, for lack of a better word, and she's decided she's had enough and time to give it up. So I'd like to thank Darlene Donnarumma for her dedication for 19 years of service. Not an easy job, early mornings, and it can be pretty crazy certain mornings when people going to conferences or phoning in sick. So we've been very fortunate. So with that, we're currently learning a program called Frontline, and Dorothy Malone, my admin assistant, deserves a lot of credit for getting trained and spending a lot of time getting this in place. We hope to be up and running prior to the end of November. And it's a great system. It's been used by a lot of districts in Massachusetts and beyond. And it'll take a while for us to get used to the automated system, but it will do what we need it to do, so to speak. So again, thanks to Dorothy for jumping on board to take a lead on this project.
Great. Do you have any other recognition tonight?
No, that's it for this evening.
Okay. For presentations, the first one, we have a PTA update, and we have Dylan Rossius here. let us know what's going on, and we know there's always a lot going on.
Hi,
This is just the way to
everyone.
Quantify it.
So, as you know, I'm Tim Larasius. I am the president of Littleton PTA. Thanks all, first of all, for letting me come out and give you an insight on what's going on this year at PTA in our schools. PTA in Littleton consists of an executive board and a panel of reps at each of our schools. Each group meets monthly at the school, and once a month, the executive board meets with a rep from each school to get updated. That being said, we wouldn't be a PTA without the help of the administration, the staff, parents, and we would love more involvement with our staff at the schools. Many years ago, when I was the lead rep at Shaker Lane, when one of my high school kids were there, I worked with Rich to get a staff member to the monthly PTA meeting. Not sure if that's still happening. It is. And we recently worked with Dr. Harrington to get a staff member at each monthly meeting. And I believe it's Miss Kelly that comes.
Yeah.
Shaker Lane does a different rep every month. We'd love to see if we could get someone at Russell Street and someone at the middle school to meet. I know those days are during the week, during the school hours, but the high school is also during the school hours, and they worked something out. We also have Miss Harvey has started joining us for our monthly executive board meetings, so she can bring any concerns from the staff from all 4 schools to us. But, we'd love to see more staff involvement. So our executive PTA deals with our membership, our finances, our insurance that PTA is required to carry. We've supported Relay for Life. We do the central office staff luncheon, and we attend the Mass PTA Summer Leadership Conferences every year. Okay, so a little bit of update from each of the school. All the monies that raised through PTA goes directly back to our schools, enhancing our children's education experience in some way. It funds field trips, buses, brings authors and motivational speakers to the schools. We have bought technology, we do enrichment programs. We also organize many staff events at the schools, like staff appreciation luncheons for the staff, coffee fun, snack surprises before school, and winter break breakfasts, just to name a few. So Shaker Lane, in September they had their Scholastic Book Fair. They have a family night every year, and this year, through donations and Scholastic dollars, we put over $4,000 worth of books into the classrooms and the library there. We also made another $2,000 in profit to be used for other programs throughout the year. Right now, they're wrapping up their Kid Stuff coupon book fundraiser. This is the only purchasing fundraiser that PTA now runs every year that we do, but it still brings in $2,000. That's why we keep running it, because it seems like parents want it. They're also gearing up for their biggest fundraiser of the year, Winterfest, which is January 26th. It's always the last Friday in January. My life has gotten very quiet once I stopped running that. Last year, they raised over $11,000 for the school, and they're hoping to top it this year. They're looking into starting several new programs and fundraisers this year. Square One Art, which is a program that involves students from preschool to grade 2. Teachers would choose a special art project to submit, and parents would get an opportunity to purchase items with their children's artwork on it. This was done at Shaker Lane years ago when my now junior was there, but it looks like they want to bring it back. Russell Street, they had a bingo night last week and raised $1,700. This was the highest bingo night they've had in years. This is a great family night. Families come out, get together to get to meet new families during the beginning of the school year. They also rolled out their 3rd annual appeal at the beginning of the school. It's going to be ending shortly. They've raised over $2,000 to this point and found that parents like this instead of us asking them to sell wrapping paper or flowers or any other cookies. So we'll keep rolling that one out. And at this time, their cultural committee hasn't met yet, but they usually bring a motivational speaker for an all-school event, and then one in-school field trip at each grade level. Middle school, they also rolled out their annual appeal this year, and they've raised $1,600 to date. They hosted back-to-school desserts for the teachers at the beginning of the school year. They've approved funding for the archaeological dig, so that's happening this week, and PTA funds that event. And they've also approved funding for a South Sudanese speaker coming to speak to the 6th grade class in their world history units. We've had a successful 6th grade kids night out last month, and we'll have 2 more this year. They will also be hosting a table at the Holiday Bazaar on December 2nd and be raffling off a mini Bose speaker and 2 gift cards. And mark your calendars because their 3rd annual cornhole tournament is set for March 15th. At the high school, they raise funds mainly through their Catalyst SAT boot camp, which was held a couple of Saturdays ago. And they raised never told me how much, but they raised some good.
We're still waiting for
Okay, still waiting for the figure. The Holiday Bazaar and their new event, Trivia Night, which will have more details towards the middle of the year, because I think that's going to be geared more towards an adult, away from the kids at the high school and more towards an adult event. Even though they have very limited funds at the high school, they're able to support the students and staff through a lot of events through the help of parent donations. So they run the student recognition breakfasts with baked goods and bagels and fruits and juices, college night with drinks and snacks, Teachers of the Year awards. They give a $100 gift card to the Teacher of the Year and a plaque, senior send-off. They organize, decorate, do cake and food, and they do a faculty ice cream social every year at the end of the year. And every year they work with the guidance department to have a career fair for the students, and they're currently working with Dr. Harrington on adding a financial fair to the rotation. We send 5 girls every year to the STEM Summit, and we purchased a monitor for the cafeteria, and we beautified the lactation room and enhanced the old staff lounge. And hopefully we'll be adding a few more things with the money we raise.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Just like from the high school's perspective, like the PTA, like we don't see a lot of things that you guys do, but like whenever we go on field trips, like the teachers are always like, well, because so the Latin class is looking on going to a conference in Boston in November, December, and we're always like, so the cost of the actual ticket is this much, but then like the bus, you have to really commit. But PTA has been really great about like sponsoring buses, so
Yeah.
all of our prices have been a lot lower.
Yeah, we try to help out with field trips, busing, the extras on it, but
The thing that jumps out to me is you were like, 4,000, 2,000, 1,600, 1,700. It's like the man once said, sooner or later it adds up to real money.
it does. I mean,
But
I would.
It was $20,000 that you just spoke, and I know there's more. But to
Yes.
just think that it's, even that's like the baseline is $20,000 is obviously a significant amount of money. But then you talked about you guys fund the archaeological dig, and Olivia just told us a few minutes ago how that's a big thing.
It's her
That's
favorite,
a
yeah.
big hit.
Yeah,
So
we do the Earth View
Right.
program, and
That's also
You know,
cool.
we
That is
pre-
the only time that you will see the Pacific Ocean like all together as one piece and not divided in
Yeah.
half. That's what they tell you.
So we appreciate you guys coming in to update us because it's evident, when you detail it, how much
Right.
impact it has on a month in and month out basis throughout the year, and allows us to use some of the more general funds that we're in charge of to keep a focus on hiring and staffing, and yet still provide all these terrific enrichment opportunities. And it's not all academic. You talk about getting the families to come together and creating the community. That's as important as any,
yeah, that's what we've
actual
tried to
dollar
put our
purchase.
fundraising towards. That's why I said the kids' stuff book is the only actual purchasing thing that we still
Right.
do, because parents still seem to want it at the level, and actually I still buy one. But it just, we're trying to focus on these events that we bring the community together, but we also raise money that we can put
Right.
back in the school, because
Right.
we're a small community, and when we keep going back to the parents, asking them for money and asking the same parents for money, it's a lot. But if you say, okay, well, come out for this community night in the middle of winter when you have nothing to do and you're stuck in the house, it kind of gets more people out, and they don't mind opening their wallets to that and helping the kids out. So, but we've never had a problem with the parents in the town helping.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to not only, thank you for coming out tonight, but also thank all the members of the PTA for the time and dedication they put into this, as well as all the parents and people that are making the donations. I mean, I really like this format that we've adopted of bringing the groups in so that it gives an opportunity, because I can't make any of your meetings to see, what you do on a day-to-day or a week-to-week, month-to-month basis there. But these summaries here, I think, really give us an opportunity to see how much the community is vested in the schools and what everybody is really providing back into them.
Right.
And little opportunities like this for the whole community to see that is, I think, valuable for all of us.
Great. Yeah, we'll
See you again in the spring, maybe?
talk and we'll set another date. We'll usually do, 3 a year, Katie said?
Was it 3? Then we'll.
She said she mid.
2 or 3 is fine.
2 or 3, doesn't
Whatever
matter
works
to
for you
me.
guys.
Doesn't matter.
You can't not come, that's the only thing. You gotta come a couple times.
Yes, I will definitely come at the end of the year to give you, but if you'd like an update during the school year, of course. We can come back after Winterfest,
All right.
let you know how much it
Sure,
raised.
that'd be great.
All right, thank you.
Dylan.
Thank you.
All right, second presentation is a Chromebook update on the new program for starting with the freshmen and sophomores this year at the high school.
Quick introduction for Julie Lord and Natalie Branch, who are our tech coordinators for the district. Pleased to bring forward to you tonight a brief update about the one-to-one technology program at the high school. It also has a bring your own device option. But I just wanted to briefly say a few words of appreciation to both Julie and Natalie for all the hard work they've done on this program and the planning stages, as well as the incredible work they did in the summer to make this launch in time for the start of school. There was a lot of extra time and work put into this, and they deserve a lot of recognition. So thank you, and we'll jump into the presentation.
Good evening. I'm Julie Lord. I'm here with Natalie. So we're going to give you a quick update on where we are with the Littleton High School one-to-one program. So last winter, we had proposed a plan to deploy a one-to-one program for the high school. The proposed plan was going to be a rollout over 3 years, where the first year, year one, which deployed this fall, would include 9th and 10th graders, and then year two we would capture the incoming 9th graders, and then by year three, the Littleton High School would be completely one-to-one. So the proposed plan, all students had 2 options. They had an option to enroll in a lease purchase, where they got a purchased and managed device from the district, and that came along with a tech fee, an annual tech fee. Or their option 2 was BYOD, bring your own device, where each student bring their own personal device and register that device with our tech department. So the estimated cost that we had last year was $274, and based on this proposed plan, we had to consider all students, 9th and 10th graders for year one, participating with that device that we would be purchasing from the district. See if we can move ahead. Thank you. So I'm just going to give you, this is sort of our timeline, how we rolled it out. Last spring, we spent a lot of time being very thoughtful and did a lot of research on what device we wanted to deploy for the students if they were going to participate with the option 1 lease purchase. So we went with the Dell Chromebook. This was a 4 gig, kind of your higher end Chromebook, especially designed for students, so very durable. We also spent a lot of time with the guidelines, the program guidelines, and making sure that the documentations, the forms, sort of the workflow of how we were going to get the information out to students and parents. We spent a lot of time kind of designing that. So that was registration form, there was an agreement form, and it all was sort of housed on the one-to-one program website, which is really the platform that we were using for all information, FAQs, for students and parents and staff. So this is sort of a kind of our hub of where all the information, our go-to point, and that helped significantly as we rolled this program out to be able to keep pointing students and parents to this one website. So that's available through the Littleton High School site, or you can connect directly on that link. And so that was the spring. The summer, we kind of kicked it off with John had sent out an email, the principal's email, with this exciting news about launching this program. And then we had the students had to make their option selections. We offered an optional parent information session midsummer. We also created technology at littletonps.org. This seemed very simple, but ended up being like this really great tool that now we find is really what's helping us connect with the kids now, that they're really kind of, if any issues arise, and parents. So that's really turned into an extra helpful tool. We did a lot of cross-district. We collaborated with Harvard and actually Air Shirley too, to provide some ed tech summer PD sessions for staff. So to give them a wide variety of different tech options offered at different locations throughout the summer. And we started the deployment on the last week in August. It was all scheduled by email, and students or parents could pick up the device with the payment. No, that's okay. I think I remember. All right, and so most devices were deployed by that before school started. We were trying to be very flexible with parents and students, and I feel like we articulated that, right? That if they weren't able to make a scheduled date, we were super flexible with trying to make that work for them. So I felt like that went very smoothly. And if they did BYOD, then they just brought their device the first day of school and their program agreement form back to school. Oh, good. Yeah, thank you. So at this time, we've actually deployed 123 of the lease purchase Chromebooks, and the actual device cost was about $250. So, so the total cost of the program to date is a little over $30,000. The breakdown was very interesting. We had about 50-50. So about 50% of kids are going lease purchase, 50% are BYOD, a little bit variation between the two grades, but so that was kind of interesting. So going forward, we'll kind of take that information with us. So.
Perfect, thanks, Julie. So what are we doing for program support? Now that we're all rolled out, now that everyone's using their Chromebooks, we're into October, so what are we doing for the students? So for students, we still have the LHS one-to-one program website. We have those FAQs that will remain there, and the program agreement that will remain there for anyone to refer back to if they have any questions. Let's say they want to buy another battery, they have one at home, one they bring to school. Let's say they want to buy a case. That's all in the FAQs. So that will remain there for everybody. The technology at littletonps.org, that's been a great resource for us. It will continue to be so. We have a Chromebook charging station now in the library for anyone who forgot to charge their Chromebook at night.
It hasn't been bad.
It hasn't been bad at all, and they come in very sheepishly. I forgot to charge it, and we say that's okay. It's right out there. So they've been wonderful about it. We also have loaners, because as we all know, we all forget things at home. So we have that loaner card available in the library right outside our office.
So the squealing wheels of the parents dashing up the driveway to drop it off?
None of that. We've been good. We also want to make sure that we've supported the staff.
Glue it to their hand if you just like the phone.
That is true.
If I was one of the grades involved and I left it at home, my mom would not bring it.
With waterproof ones, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I want to say I'm very impressed with the students' accountability and responsibility with this program.
Yeah.
They've really kind of, even a lot of the troubleshooting issues, printing at home on a Chromebook is not always the easiest. I bet all the kids are the ones who are setting this up at home. So I think that's been really kind of an interesting, I'm totally impressed by it.
Yeah, and I think the familiarity with Chromebooks of using them from Russell Street Middle School and high school, it's really just made this ease of use. It's just been wonderful. So for staff, we want to make sure that the staff are continued to be supported as well. So what we've been offering is Tech Thursdays at the high school for anyone who wants to come and learn. It's Google Classroom, Google Drive, anything in the G Suite. Julie and I have been there on Thursdays. We have ed tech sessions with a focus on G Suite for Education on November 7th for a cross-district collaboration. This is the first that we've ever done before with Harvard and Air Shirley with the focus on curriculum and development in the one-to-one environment. What's great is they'll be able to meet with math, we'll be able to meet with the math department and science, and it's a full-day PD to really learn from other schools as well. So we're very excited about this, very passionate, and Jerry Lynn's been just a great spearhead in making sure that everything's getting done and everyone's on board and everyone's excited for that. Feedback. So where are we now? From the deployment to now, we've had great verbal feedback from staff, students, parents. We're going to be sending out a mid-year survey, and we can provide that information for you if you'd like, just so you know how everyone's feeling in a formal Google form. So year one of the program has been wonderful. We have no reservations about going forward to next year. If approved, we would do the next freshman class as well and continue on in that fashion. Any questions?
Just a couple of comments. If you remember, not too long ago, last year we were sitting here and we had just reorganized our tech department. And Julie and Natalie were immersed in leadership roles. And first year was a pretty steep learning curve. We have a lot of technology in our system, networks to maintain, increased concerns about security, increased expectations at the national and state level for data composition. And we have a skeletal staff. I mean, we didn't bring any more staff on. We've added 260 more Chromebooks to our platform. And they have just done an incredible job to be put in a new position where we were creating the job description last year at this time. And to think of what we dealt with as a district, it was a busy year. And on top of that, we were able to make some decisions, use a collaborative process to move forward with a one-on-one program at the high school. I can't thank you enough for your leadership in helping us move forward in technology. This program has been so smooth. I've implemented one-on-one programs in a number of districts that I've been in, and I have to tell you, this was such a smooth implementation process. Our bandwidth was where it needed to be. We had no delays in terms of access to internet, and with what we've been doing in elementary school and in our middle school, our kids were ready. They were more than computer literate. So the credit goes beyond the high school staff. It really starts down in our primary school and builds up. I mean, when I go into classrooms, kids are working on Google Docs, and it's just really impressive, the skill sets that we've been developed. And we believed and talked and planned methodically to make sure that we identified skill sets that students need when they exit each of our schools. And we've been very successful at actualizing those skill sets. And this is just an opportunity for us to reap the benefits of making sure our students are computer literate and also using technology to enhance instruction, not supplant what we were doing before. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Questions or comments? Jen? Daryl?
Yeah, no, I have a couple. One easy one here. So tech updates. So you got a model this year. They change every year, don't they? We're going to be doing like a tech refresh, so that in terms of like what model we'll be buying next year.
Yeah, so every year we'll go, every year, especially for this program, absolutely.
Which is good. I kind of thought that, but, like when we were buying computers, we'd always lock into a specific model and then buy it even though it was starting to get end of life, that type of
Yeah, no,
thing.
so we'll reevaluate that in the spring and see the Dell is really happy with that, but we would definitely have to go with the next model anyway because of that end of life.
Yep, good.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have the answer to this. I didn't get a chance to look up how much we budgeted for out of capital or operating funds versus the 30,000 that we ended up spending.
72 or close to
It's on
72.
71 or 72?
Yeah, there it is, 71, 240.
Did I miss that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
A lot of
good.
numbers up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. so-
And then the question I got from just the parents there is, and again, it's not necessarily directed at you, is do we have thoughts about trying to roll this out to some of the lower grades, going down to the, to the other schools over time?
Yeah, it's perfect timing. We've had a lot of dialogue. And, I tend to to want to move in a fashion where we don't take too much time to implement, and so Julie and Natalie and I have had a lot of dialogue, and I would like to see us start at the middle school, but at the same time, in all fairness to the number of tech staff we have in our district, and to ensure that we have this rollout process smoothly implemented, and to give our teachers enough time so that they have the proficiency level that we can help utilize them in a train-the-trainer model at middle school. I think we're going to wait a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we will do one more year of implementation next year, and then the year after that, our tentative plan would be to finish the high school out and then start the middle school at the same time. Our biggest, it's not a dilemma where, philosophically we have to come to terms with, do we start in grade 5 or do we start in grade 6? And I think that's we're not sure yet at this point in time. We're still having discussions in those areas. Our grade 5s are ready, but it's just a matter of do you do it on a senior grade in a school, or do you wait until they transition into the middle school and start the program? So we need to hear from the teachers, our grade 5 teachers as well, and keep that dialogue flowing. So within 2 years, something will happen, and we're obviously cognizant of total cost of our budget as well. We want to make sure that we don't go too fast and put a strain on our budget and not being able to actualize other areas.
Oh, good. I just wanted to know sort of what our plans were, and I'm glad it's on the horizon.
I have one comment about that too. I think there's a couple things we need to keep in mind. One is, it's not as if the middle school and Russell Street students are bereft of
Right.
the use of
Right.
technology in the classroom. I mean, we know, we hear it all the time, it is going on. The second thing that I would ask is that we carefully, we heard very good things about the responsibility level of the high school students, about keeping it charged, bringing it, we'll get more input later, I think, about that it's being used properly, and how much benefit it has to the delivery of curriculum, but also the absorption of curriculum by the students. And when we think about going down to those lower grades, we need to make sure that we're confident that it's going to be at least as beneficial. Otherwise, the whole one-to-one model just becomes overkill. Why don't we just stick with what we have? We introduce the concepts, we augment it. I'm not saying it's not going to be the right thing to do, but we need to determine that it is before we just blindly say, well, if it's good for the high school, it's good for the middle school, it's good for 5th grade. We just need to make sure. And obviously, we're not on the cutting edge because there are plenty of schools that have gone one-to-one, but it's still pretty new in terms of how we introduce this into the public school curriculums. And we just need to keep an eye on the bigger world and think about what the best practices are relative to that.
And teacher proficiency and skill levels are key to being successful.
Any other questions or comments?
I was just going to say, one thing I was really interested in, I thought for professional development doing cross-district, I think that's a really cool idea. Where exactly is Harvard and Air Shirley in their one-to-one? Have they recently implemented it, or are they a little bit further along?
So they're this year,
This year.
so they're all high school, right, 9th grade. They might have went the full school. Right, but everyone this fall was their first one-to-one.
I think Harvard went full school, Air Shirley,
Might have done.
I think they did
similar
2 grades.
So we're sort of in the same.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things about so far, talking to students about the rollout, so
Great.
that's great.
Good.
I have a couple questions and comments. The parent information session you guys did in August, how well was that attended?
We did not have that many.
Less than a dozen?
But the
Right.
summer, so in hindsight, going forward to next year, summer turned out to be a very difficult time to kind of get information out and get information back.
Okay.
So I think this spring, I think we'll kind of try to be a little, get all that out there before the end of the year, now that we've got it all packaged and ready to roll. But I think we would have more, it's summers just seems
And the
tough.
curriculum night too, both.
We had like an
both of these-
open house.
We had a curriculum back to school night at the high school for the subject areas or for the courses. And the library, they were in the library and available to answer any questions for parents. So,
Did people come in and ask specifically?
yeah, there was
Yeah,
more,
not very many.
there was a few people that.
Well, that's why I'm curious. I think that's fine. I
They were
think
there for
that
another reason.
even if you did it in the spring, you're saying that the summer is tricky, which it is, but it's not like you're gonna quintuple
No,
the attendance.
I
You
don't.
might get 50% more,
Sure.
or even 100%, but I think it just goes to show that most of the households in Littleton are perfectly comfortable with technology and it's implemented. And the other indication of that is the fact that almost 50% of the families chose to BYOD versus, go with the units that we had. Again, they already had it, why do I need another one, et cetera, et cetera. Which leads to my second question. So if close to 50% of the devices are not our devices, the school department's devices, can you just talk a little bit about, the process for verifying the validity of the device so that we know the students are coming in? You guys talked about in the spring, if they are going to be BYOD, they have to meet these parameters. And also making sure that they're software compliant and we know that they're going to be used properly while they're within the walls of the school.
Yeah, so we have, the two separate options, if they registered for BYOD, they had to check off that they were, I think there was 4 stipulations that we had that the device had to meet. And then they had to give their MAC address, so we're aware of what where their device is on the network, so we're able to kind of, and I like Chrome installed. Really, that's the only thing we need as far as software, right? Is we just need the Chrome browser because we're Google Apps.
Okay.
Other than that, we have been really, it's been the teachers, right, who are kind of making sure that students are showing up with that device and that it's charged. And it was very telling the first week or two because kids were coming to the tech office if they didn't have a device and borrowing a device or charging a device. So I think that's really been being enforced in the classroom.
Okay.
Just sort of surveying the kids verbally, I guess, like they're using the devices in these classrooms quite often. And you even notice it in the library now, it seems, if people they're coming in and they're pulling out their devices, they're collaborating more. It seems like it's almost culturally changing sort of the way business is happening day to day.
The other thing is, I do appreciate, Kelly, you alluded to how much work you guys did and the fact that we did not increase our technology staff. We reorganized and changed the emphasis and the priorities, and the fact that you guys were able to do that so seamlessly is a tribute to you guys, and the benefit to the district is almost immeasurable. But also the classroom staff who are now retraining how they deliver curriculum. It would be great, because we've talked about this program and a lot, almost, not solely, but the majority of the discussion has been about how the students are going to acquire the devices and that kind of thing. But at some point, and this is so new, I'm not asking for this anytime in the near future, maybe not even this year, but I would like to get an update from how the delivery of curriculum has changed and what the benefits are, and also maybe what some of the problems might have been, where we hit some road bumps, and just get an idea of are we measuring the impact, whether it's positive and or negative? It could be positive in some respects and negative in others, from the teacher's perspective and the staff perspective of, how much do they really think this is helping, and kind of try to quantify it a little bit and get it described to us how they're going about taking advantage of the training and things like that. Like I say, I don't want it right now because I don't think it would be meaningful, but down the road, I'd like to know how we changed how it impacted it.
And it will be very telling. I mean, even it's not a simple fact, but doing a conversion from handwriting papers and then word processing papers is a significant transition. And in middle school and our elementary grades, they're doing both right now, which is good. But that total transition is it's not something that happens overnight. So our students, when they graduate, are going to have proficiency in that skill set. I remember myself converting, and it took a while. Just the way you're thinking when you're writing it's a different type of process. So that in itself will be very valuable. Another comment I wanted to make is we had to make sure that day one, when our students arrived, those computers were in the classrooms. Because if you don't do that, then it doesn't take long to fall back to old routines. So in our rollout strategy, we wanted to make sure that we were ready to implement in its entirety the program day one of classes, and that really helped us in the transition process. So the early organization is essential as we keep moving forward. Well, next year is going to be a little different because our teachers are going to have that experience in the process. But this year, it was a first year for them.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know from like where I've seen, I know because I helped out with freshman orientation, so a lot of freshmen picked up their devices then. I know because in future years it will just be freshmen. I don't know if one of the dates will then just become freshman orientation, because I believe, if I'm remembering right, only 4 kids in the whole freshman class didn't come that day because of other commitments. And then I'm helping direct one of the shows at the high school because we're doing an evening of short plays instead. And my cast is primarily underclassmen, and so they all have the devices. And so I've gotten emails back from them a lot faster than I was expecting sometimes, which has been nice. But like, I've walked past classrooms and I've seen everyone with their Chromebooks open. So I can't promise that they're being productive on them, but they are being used.
There are checks and balances in place to make sure they're not being unproductive. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. All right, do you have any other presentations or new business?
Oh, we're good.
Under old business, this was on the agenda 2 weeks ago, the MASC conference. It's a 3-day conference down at the Cape that we've had attendance at in the past. This year, we will not have anybody from the Littleton School Committee attending. And one of the things that we had, if we were going to have someone attending, then we would consider the resolutions that will be considered at that business meeting and empower our representative to vote. But we don't need to do that, so we don't have to talk about these items on the agenda. So that very quickly brings us to the second section of interested citizens, and we have one.
Yes.
Quick.
And I'm double checking. Did I put myself on camera? Okay, look at that. Even better. Parent-teacher conferences are going on this week at the middle school. And for the first time in like 9 years, we walked out of there and said, "Are you talking about our kid?" So what I wanted to say to the school committee and to the administration is thank you for all of your support and funding for the social emotional learning. It has been a huge help, whether it's having the teachers understand my son and his diagnoses, or my son learning about himself. Something has clicked this year, so thank you.
It's excellent feedback, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other interested citizens? Seeing none. All right, subcommittee reports, PMBC.
Unfortunately, I wasn't feeling well and didn't make the last meeting. They were going through the punch list for the field, and there was a few other topics, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to stay for that meeting.
We'll let it slide.
Yeah.
Budget subcommittee, we had our first meeting. We have our schedule of meetings, basically going to meet every other week, kind of opposite of the school committee meetings. That will be subject to change as necessary as we get through the process. We are still gathering information on our, there's 3 things we will consider. One is the increase in salary for our current staffing levels. We're going to get quantify that number. The administration will do an analysis on the projected SPED budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And then the school admin team will go through and think about what they might want to do in terms of additional staffing and or programming, and quantify the costs and prioritize. One thing to keep in mind that Steve Mark has reminded us at those meetings is our regular ed transportation contract is up. It comes up it's a 3-year contract, so basically when we get it signed, we got a 3-year. We know exactly what it's going to be. This year we won't know exactly what it's going to be because it is going to come up. So that's a little bit bigger number than we would typically see. We had a joint meeting with the Finance Committee and Board of Selectmen this previous Tuesday night. just kind of to go over general expectations. The Board of Selectmen did present at their meeting Monday night and then reiterated at the joint meeting their priority list for, again, additional staffing and/or programming. It wasn't what they expect to do. It was more of a, if we could do things, these are the things we would consider. It wasn't even prioritized yet. We told them that we will have our capital list ready by the end of the month, and that we would be ready in more like 6 weeks to give them those big numbers, those driving type numbers, the salary number, spend number, and what we think we want to consider for additional staffing and programming. So we kind of started the process. There's no real numbers on it yet, but we are underway.
So, Mike, given that we're still in negotiations, the salary projection is probably a delicate topic at this point.
Yeah, we will have to handle it similar to the way we handled it last budget season. Hopefully, we will get resolution. The expectation was that the probability that we were going to get resolution last budget year was lower, because we had just started the negotiation, and it is a negotiation. It's the first one we've done in 3 years, so it's a significant undertaking. I would like to believe that the probability has definitely gone up, that we will get it done during, prior to approving a final budget. And we'll know exactly what it's going to be, but I certainly can't promise that as a surety, because it is a negotiation, and it is ongoing.
Yeah, I just bring it up because at some point you're going to need to put something in order to get placeholders in the budget.
Yeah.
But that's not going to represent our negotiation position.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
I just want to make sure that people
Correct.
understand that.
Yeah. And we had an executive session with the finance committee earlier in the fall to explain where we were in that process, so, they're cognizant of that as well, and through them to the Board of Selectmen. So, yeah, it's a good.
Mike, we'll also have the bus bid back by the end of November.
Oh, okay,
We're getting
good.
ready
That'll
to
help
put
then.
that out.
All right.
That'll be released November 1st. The bid opening is the end of November, so I should have that number by
All
then.
right, good, so we'll be able to quantify that. Good. All right, terrific. Matt, anything else on that?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, policy subcommittee?
Big handoff meeting November 3rd, I believe, with Darrell.
Be ready, get a good night's sleep. Any other business before the school committee? Wow,
It's a record.
that might be a record.
That's fine.
That might be.
That is a record.
Yeah.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I was gonna say something.
Quick.
I don't believe we need an executive session, so a motion to adjourn. Need a second?
Or second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Wow.
Okay.